Look closely at the patch of freshly turned soil near your garden shed. To the casual observer, the small orange-breasted bird tilting its head on the damp grass is merely waiting for an earthworm to stir. But what you are actually witnessing is an advanced biological surveillance network in active operation. The American robin is not acting on blind, primitive instinct. It is executing a highly calculated risk assessment protocol, mapping the exact spatial coordinates of your backyard while cataloging your personal daily routine with chilling precision. For decades, urban ethology dismissed these common thrushes as simple seasonal fixtures of suburban lawns. New breakthroughs in avian neurobiology suggest a far more unsettling reality. The robin is an apex cognitive mapmaker, a master of spatial memory that thrives not despite human civilization, but by systematically exploiting it. Consider the physical architecture of the creature itself. The dark, glossy feathers framing its crown absorb the early morning glare, while a distinct, broken white eye ring focuses light onto a highly specialized retina. When a robin freezes on a patch of dew-soaked clover, it is not listening for subterranean movement with its ears. It is deploying an extraordinary form of visual processing. Its large, dark eyes are positioned laterally on its skull, granting a panoramic view that can detect a microscopic shift in a blade of grass from yards away. The avian brain processes visual data at a frame rate nearly double that of the human eye, meaning your most rapid movements appear to the robin as a slow, predictable sequence of static images. It watches you step onto the porch, notes the heavy vibration of your boots against the wooden steps, and measures the precise distance between your path and its current foraging zone. This is the hidden surveillance state of the spring backyard. Every time you open your back door, a wave of silent data collection ripples through the immediate ecosystem. The robin tracks the specific trajectory of your lawnmower, recognizing that the heavy steel blade will inevitably churn up a rich bounty of soil invertebrates. It calculates the exact radius of your safety zone, knowing down to the centimeter how close it can approach before triggering your predatory response. If you carry a metal spade, its behavior shifts. The bird associates the silver glint of the tool with an immediate disruption of the earth, positioned precisely at the edge of the shadow cast by the brick wall. It stores this information, filing it away for later exploitation. This sophisticated data processing becomes undeniably apparent during what researchers call the hidden behavioral test. Imagine a controlled experiment conducted within the confines of a standard suburban fence line. A human intruder enters the space wearing a specific brightly colored jacket and walks a fixed path toward a hidden nest tucked into the dense, thorny branches of a mature juniper bush. The robin does not simply flee in a panic. It initiates a complex, multi-tiered defense strategy rooted in advanced threat assessment. From its perch on a rusted iron trellis, the bird emits a sharp, metallic peak call. This sound is not a random cry of distress. It is a high-frequency acoustic weapon designed to alert neighboring pairs while masking the exact location of the caller. As the intruder approaches, the robin's cognitive machinery accelerates. It analyzes the intruder's gait, the direction of their gaze, and their speed. Neuroscientists studying the avian hippocampus, the brain region responsible for spatial navigation and memory formation, have discovered that these birds possess an astonishing capacity for episodic memory. This function operates like a mental time travel machine, allowing the robin to replay past human encounters frame by frame. It remembers that 2 days ago, a human with the same heavy stride stepped near the nesting site, causing the low pine needles to brush against the outer mud wall of its cup-shaped home. The robin evaluates this past event against the current threat matrix. If the intruder holds their gaze directly on the nest, the robin alters its tactical response. It drops low to the ground, deliberately flashing the pale white feathers on its lower belly to draw attention away from the clutch of 4 pristine, sky-blue eggs. It simulates vulnerability, darting beneath the low-hanging leaves of a hosta plant, only to reappear moments later on the opposite side of the yard. It is running a complex psychological simulation, manipulating the human's focus through a series of calculated distractions. This behavioral sophistication shatters the old orthodox view of the avian brain as a primitive organ capable only of automated reactions. Inside that tiny feathered skull lies a densely packed hyper-striatum, a structure functionally equivalent to the mammalian neocortex, capable of complex problem-solving and abstract learning. The robin understands the concept of object permanence with total clarity. It knows that even when you step inside the house and close the heavy glass door, you still exist behind the reflection of the window pane. It sits patiently on the topmost wire of a telephone pole, its breast glowing like a dull ember against the gray morning sky, waiting for the precise moment you let your guard down. It has mastered the geometry of your habitat, decoded the rhythms of your life, and established an invisible empire right before your eyes. This intricate mapping of human behavior is merely the baseline of their cognitive operation. To truly understand the psychological depth of the robin, we must examine what happens when the backyard surveillance network identifies an explicit, recurring enemy. In the field of cognitive ethology, a profound breakthrough occurred when researchers began testing long-term facial recognition and social learning in urban species. While corvids have long worn the crown of avian intellect, the humble robin possesses an equally formidable mechanism for tracking individual human identities. If you systematically disrupt a robin's foraging territory or approach its nesting site with hostile intent, you are permanently logged into its facial database. The bird's lateralized vision allows its left eye to feed visual data directly into the right hemisphere of its brain, a neural pathway specifically optimized for evaluating emotional cues and environmental hazards. The robin scrutinizes the structural geometry of your face, the distance between your eyes, the ridge of your brow, and the unique cadence of your stride. It does not matter if you change your clothing, wear a wide-brimmed sun hat, or approach from a completely different angle near the compost bin. The robin recognizes you. Its internal threat index updates instantly, triggering a localized physiological response. Its heart rate spikes, its feathers compress tightly against its body to reduce aerodynamic drag, and it prepares for a tactical strike or a highly coordinated vocal deterrence. This recognition is not an isolated individual grudge. It is an inherited legacy. When a nesting pair identifies a specific human as a high-level predator, they broadcast this information across the local avian community using a highly structured vocal lexicon. The sharp, rapid tut-tut-tut alarm call, echoing off the aluminum siding of your garage, acts as an acoustic bulletin. This sound profile carries distinct directional data, alerting every bird within a 50-yard radius of the exact coordinates of the threat. Furthermore, young fledglings huddled within the mud-lined nest chamber, their spotted breasts blending perfectly into the deep shadows of the ivy vines, observe their parents' behavioral reactions. Through this intense social transmission, a human face can become a symbol of danger passed down through successive generations of birds occupying the same suburban block. This intergenerational cognitive transfer reveals the existence of a complex, parallel culture thriving right above our manicured lawns. The robin treats human architecture not as a foreign landscape, but as a highly malleable topographical feature. Consider its nesting strategy. The traditional view suggests that a robin builds its nest in a fork of an old oak tree out of simple habit. In reality, modern robins show a distinct preference for structural engineering. They systematically select man-made overhangs, electrical junction boxes, and the sheltered crevices of porch roofs. They recognize that these human structures provide superior thermal mass, blocking the biting north wind while absorbing and radiating afternoon solar heat far more efficiently than raw foliage. The construction of the nest itself is a masterpiece of material science. The female robin gathers coarse, dry grass stalks from the edge of a gravel driveway, weaving them into a sturdy structural basket. She then coats the interior with a thick layer of wet, alluvial mud collected from the rim of a nearby puddle. Using her own breast as a piston, she presses her body against the damp earth, rotating her torso with rhythmic precision to create a perfect, smooth hemisphere. The physical physics of this design are brilliant. The mud core acts as a thermal stabilizer, retaining the mother's body heat and preventing the temperature of the delicate blue eggs from fluctuating wildly during sudden spring cold snaps. As the season progresses, This architectural mastery transitions into an elaborate foraging chess match. The robin's interaction with the soil is a study in precise sensory feedback loops. Watch a robin hunt on a freshly cut lawn after a heavy downpour. It sprints forward 3 steps, stops abruptly, and tilts its head so low its beak nearly touches a dandelion leaf. The bird is capitalizing on a phenomenon known as seismic detection. As an earthworm tunnels through the upper topsoil, its minute, bristled setae scrape against the dirt particles, creating micro-vibrations that travel through the damp earth. The robin's specialized skeletal structure, particularly the delicate bones of its skull, can sense these rhythmic pulses. Simultaneously, its acute vision detects the absolute microscopic venting of air and water from the tiny wormholes in the mud. The strike is surgical, a swift downdrive of the beak that extracts the prey with minimal energy expenditure. This relentless, calculated efficiency is what allows the robin to dominate the urban ecosystem. It has turned our resource-rich suburban landscapes into its own personal laboratory. While we see a quiet backyard, the robin sees a high-stakes arena of resource acquisition, risk management, and competitor suppression. It monitors the nesting progress of neighboring house sparrows, memorizes the patrol routes of local outdoor cats, and maps the daily departure times of the human residents. It exists in a state of hyper-awareness, an organic supercomputer processing millions of data points every single second. The ultimate verdict is clear. The American robin is not a passive ornament of the spring landscape, nor is it a simple creature of instinctual routine. It is a highly adaptable, intellectually formidable agent of urban nature. It has looked closely at human civilization, analyzed our behaviors, decoded our environments, and figured out exactly how to exploit us for its own evolutionary advancement. The next time you step outside into the crisp morning air and catch the sharp gaze of that orange-breasted bird perched on your garden fence, understand the true nature of that encounter. You are not just looking at a bird, you are being profiled by a master.